Just got this one in the other day. It is the Mossberg Snow Goose semi-automatic shotgun. Now we'll have a full review coming on the channel of this shotgun soon, but I identified a problem right out of the box. We've got to talk about that today, so let's go. What's up, crew? It's Chris with CloverTac, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here on CloverTac, we talk about all things firearm related. So if you're into that sort of thing, jump down and smash that subscribe button below. While you're down there, if you want to stay up to date on all the new content, we'll go ahead and click that notification bell as well. Before we get started, just a quick safety reminder. Both of the shotguns we're going to be looking at today, actions are going to be open and clear. Now this shotgun comes, as you see it here, fully assembled. That's not always the case with shotguns. We'll talk about that more a little later on. But right away out of the box, I noticed that the fore end here was loose. On closer inspection and kind of knowing how shotguns are assembled, I noticed that the barrel is also loose right here where it fits into the receiver. Problem is, this fore end nut, which secures the fore end, the barrel, and everything else to the receiver of the shotgun, it's tight. About as hand tight as you can possibly get it. Now it should be obvious here that firearms, like any machine, need to be cleaned and maintained on a regular basis. This semi-automatic shotgun, no exception. The gas system, which routinely will need to be cleaned, resides underneath the fore end. So my theory is somebody had this apart for maintenance or whatever, and they probably did not use the proper procedure when they reassembled everything going back together. So today I want to talk about that. Before we get to the Snow Goose, however, I want to bring in a more conventional semi-automatic shotgun for those that might be less experienced with firearms, kind of show you how a more conventional setup works. Then we'll move to the Snow Goose and I'll show you the problematic areas, the things you need to watch for when you're cleaning and maintaining the Mossberg Snow Goose shotgun. Now here we got what I would call a more typical or conventional shotgun. Everything is, of course, safe and clear. And on the end, we've got a cap right there. Notice I just broke it loose with my hands. That fore end cap's going to come off. This is how you get, again, to the gas system. Kind of take everything down for cleaning. Once you get that fore end cap off, the fore end typically will just slide off. That will allow you to take the barrel assembly out. Now, interestingly enough, I talked about how that Mossberg Snow Goose came fully assembled. Most of the time with semi-automatic shotguns, when you get them brand new in the box, they actually are in two pieces. You've got the receiver, the fore end, and then the barrel put in a box, something like that, and it just saves space. But you can see how underneath this fore end, it's the gas system and everything that you would need to clean. Once you're done with your cleaning and maintenance, of course, the process is just the opposite. You're gonna get that barrel on, slide your fore end over that system, screw that fore end nut on, hand tight, of course. Everything should be nice and tight. Handguard should be tight, barrel should be tight to the receiver, and you're good to go. Now, the root of this issue with the Mossberg 940 Snow Goose is that it does not have a conventional fore end nut here. And it doesn't because it's got this extra tube on the end of it. So the process by which you disassemble to get to that gas system for cleaning and maintenance and then reassembly, it's just a little bit different. So let's go through that now. Now, the first step in this process is going to be to remove this tube cap. It's got a lot of threads. It also has a spring inside there. Be mindful of that. There's going to be some pressure once you get that thing loose. Now, let me take just a quick minute and say, you'll notice that I'm wearing eye protection. Anytime we're cleaning, maintaining firearms, we're dealing with chemicals or springs that can go flying across the room or into your eye. Eye Pro, always a good choice. We're not doing any cleaning today, so I'm not using any chemicals. If I were, I would very likely be wearing some type of gloves as well. But you're going to unscrew that end cap. Once you start getting to the end, again, be mindful that spring is in there and it has some pressure, and it's a big, long spring. We'll take a look at that here in just a second as soon as I can get it out And there we go. And the spring flew out. Notice how it flew out, and look how big and long and honking and awesome that spring is. Make sure you keep your orientation right. Make sure you know which end of the spring was where. That's the end, obviously, in the end cap. So I'm going to leave it on the table like that. Then we're going to tilt this thing up. There is a follower in here. There she is. And you've got a little raised area, and you've got a cup area. The cup area is the end that the spring goes into. Again, be mindful of that. Next, we've got a clamp that secures that tube to the barrel. Got a couple of screws on that. Take those screws out. That clamp comes off. Easy peasy. You don't really have to worry about where that clamp goes when we reassemble, because it does have some notches cut out in that tube specifically for that. Now we take and we can unscrew the 4-end nut. The tube and everything comes off, and we're able to remove that handguard, subsequently remove that barrel, and we are ready to clean everything up, maintain everything, do what we need to do. But here's the rub. We're gonna have to make sure we reassemble this in the proper order as well before we finish up here, and I show you how to correctly put everything back together. If you have any tips for cleaning and maintenance when it comes to semi-automatic shotguns, do us a favor, drop those down in the comments below. So reassembly after cleaning and maintenance on this is a pretty routine thing. Gonna put that barrel back in. It's sitting down all the way, it's flush. The 4-end goes on, push it down, it's sitting in all the way, it's flush. Here is the problem area. So the problem comes into play when this tube is screwed down too far into this end cap. What it does is it doesn't allow this end cap to screw down far enough to secure that 4-end and the barrel in place. So here's my recommendation, is go ahead and take the tube completely off of that end cap. And then you've got a similar situation to what you would any conventional shotgun. Turn that sucker up, put that end cap on, screw it down into place. Again, hand tight is all you need. It's got kind of a ratcheting system there. And now you'll notice we're good and tight. The barrel is secure to the receiver, and we're not going to have any issues. This thing is going to be as safe as it can be. From there, just take that tube and screw that tube down into the end cap until it stops. Once you get that tube nice and hand tight into the end cap, well, we are ready to put our barrel clamp, tube clamp, whatever you want to call it, back into place here. Screwed in, get the tube secured here. And once you get that tube on, it is time to get that spring back in this thing. Remember, we've got our follower, the cup end of it's going to go up. We'll drop that down in the tube. Hopefully you have remembered the orientation on your spring. So start with the bottom of that spring, slide that sucker down in the tube like so, and you're going to start getting some pressure, and you're going to have to compress this spring. Again, see how that's flopping around? That's why I say definitely need iPro. Just take it a few coils of that spring at a time, work it down, make sure you've got your fingers on it and it's not going anywhere. And once you get that spring down, this is the tricky part. We're going to slide that end cap up over the spring and start screwing her back into place. Now make sure you keep a little bit of pressure on this tube end cap until you get a few threads going anyway, so that the tension on that spring doesn't knock it off. Screw that down, you're gonna go hand tight with it. And there we go. We've got a properly assembled Mossberg 940 Snow Goose. Just remember, when you're taking this down for cleaning and maintenance, it's a little bit different than your conventional shotguns because of this tube. And so that end cap on the 4-end here, just a little bit different. Take that sucker off the tube when you're reassembling. Put that on first, then screw your tube in. Just work your way forward on the shotgun, and you're not going to have any problems. Everything's going to fit tight, lock up tight, screw down tight, and you'll be good to go. So there you go, crew. There is how you avoid a potential problem when you're cleaning and maintaining the new Mossberg 940 Snow Goose. I'm looking forward to continuing the testing, and be sure that you come back to the channel later on. We will have a full review of this shotgun. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching, and until next time, don't forget to chain fire freedom.